This is the colours game. It's a game that we've put on our website to illustrate why it is that comparative judgment does work. And you can go online and actually play this game yourself, but I'm just going to have a go at it now so you can see how this works. So hopefully you can see here that we've got 8 colours, 8 different shades of blue, ranging from light blue to dark blue. So the lightest shade you can see is the number 1 shade, and the darkest shade is the number 8 shade. Now in a moment I'm going to click on Start Test, and when I click on Start Test, you are going to see one colour at a time, and you're going to have to, if you like, mark the colour. So when you see that one colour, you're going to have to say what number colour you think it is. If you think it's the lightest one, you put 1. If you think it's the darkest, you put 8, so on and so forth. So just have a little look at it now, familiarise yourself with the colours, and then we'll click Start Test. So here we go. So this is Start Test. So what I'm going to do now, I've done this task several times, but I'm going to give it a go. I'm going to give each colour a darkness mark from 1 to 8. And as I say, I'm going to be doing it this time, but if you want to have a go yourself, if you think you can do better, please just go to the link. You can play this game yourself. So what am I going to put here? I'll type in what colour I think this is. Right. So you can see what I'm doing is I am having a go at the colours. And how am I doing? Right, okay, so you can see there my marking score is 3 out of 8. I've done this task several times, as I say. I would say 3 out of 8 is about average. It tends to be about the average score, and I do this with groups of people. And imagine if you were marking a set of essays there, you probably wouldn't be best pleased with having 3 out of 8. If we were marking a set of essays and I only got 3 out of 8, the correct mark, you might say, well, you need to go away and do some more training on what good writing is. Might be true. But in this case, I don't think my issue is that I need more training on what the colour blue is. I think I actually do know what the colour blue is. I think the reason why I didn't do very well, and why most people on this don't do that well, is not to do with my understanding of the colour blue. It's to do with the way that task was presented. Because the way that task was just presented to me, that was an example of absolute judgment. That was what I was doing. And you can see it says here, we've now established that you cannot make absolute judgments. And it says that because actually it's not just me, it's not just you. The human brain is not very good at absolute judgments. So what we're going to do now is we're going to have a go at comparative judgment. And we're going to see, am I any better at comparative judgment? So let's have a go. Click on Next. What we've got here is, you can see, I hope you've now got 2 shades of blue. And my task here is just to click on which shade I think is darker. So I think it's on the left, I'll click that. I think it's on the right, I'll click that. As I'm doing this, there's a few things you can keep an eye on. My judging score tells you how many marks I'm getting right as we go. Also, the scale underneath with these colours on is dynamic. As I start judging, it's going to start moving based on my decisions. And not just that, but you can also see underneath that, we've got this little blue dot, which you'll also see, this is dynamic. When I start judging, that's going to start moving too. So let's have a go at this. I'm going to need to do a few more judgments this time. I'll need to do about 15 or 20, but we'll see if I'm any better at this than I was at the previous task. Okay, so I'm clicking on the darker shade. So already I'm up to 8 out of 8. But let's keep going. Okay, there we go. So let's have a look at these results. I needed to do 13 decisions. I got 13 out of 13 this time, so I got 100% success rate, much, much better than my 3 out of 8 record on the previous task. I found it much easier. I found it really easy. I think I could have gone on for a lot more and kept getting them right, unlike the previous task. And I hope you can also see here that every time I made a decision, this scale would start moving. So what it was doing is every time I said one shade was darker than the other, it would send that shade to the right and the other shade to the left. It basically keeps doing that until you get to a point that's stable. And the diagram underneath, if you have a look at that, what that's doing is just modelling the relationships between the colours based on the decisions that I made. So you can see the difference there between absolute judgment and comparative judgment. And to sum up, absolute judgment is hard. The human brain's not good at it. The human brain is not good at absolute judgment in a whole range of fields. not just essays, but colour, height, temperature, pitch. Comparative judgment is much easier. It goes with the grain of how the mind works. So sometimes the issue is not that you need more training on writing or you need more training on the colour blue. The issue is the way the task is being presented to you.